All right, guys, we got a 2005 Dodge Sprinter. Customer complaint is that he noticed oil on the connector for the transmission TCM dripping. He pulled off the connector, cleaned it, and changed the cover and put it back. And supposedly since then, the transmission has been in a limp mode where it will not shift past second gear. It seems to accelerate fine from first gear to second gear, but then it just stays in second gear, won't shift past that. And as you can see, we do have the check engine light is on, ABS light is on, and some other lights. There are other concerns with the vehicle, but we're going to focus on the transmission. We have two codes in the transmission that I'm going to show you. And if you saw that, one is related to the wheel speed sensor at the back, right rear, I believe. I believe that to be credible. That's a different issue, but the code of concern is the P2106, and it's showing basically an internal fault. What I'm going to do at the TCM, we're going to check the powers and grounds, and we're going to see if we've got our full power reaching to the transmission. TCM rather. All right, here we are under the van. First thing I noticed, looks like this thing had a full tour of the rust belt, man. Doesn't look like a Texas vehicle to me. But anyway, there is the connector for the TCM, the transmission, right here. So we're gonna go ahead and investigate in there, see what we see. All right, I went ahead and pulled the connector off. You just basically turn this lever down and then it'll come off. I don't know if this is what the customer replaced. He said he can replace some plastic cover, so I'm assuming this. I don't know. So we're gonna check for powers and grounds. I'm gonna take a look inside of here to see if we see anything strange. All right, guys, so we got two powers that reach into this connector on this black wire. And then there's another black and green that's also a power supply. So we should be getting, I guess, around battery voltage. And then that pink, you see that pink right there, that is a sensor ground. So we're going to check those three and see what we get. All right, so I'm in the black and blue right now. And if I put my test light into that, sorry, the screen is kind of, I'm getting 6 volts. Okay. I need to check now and see what is actually supposed to be the voltage coming in on this, if it's battery voltage or not. I didn't confirm. Let me confirm that. I'll be back. And by the way, on the all black wire, I'm getting 3 volts, so even less. On the pink, I am getting a ground signal, but I'm unable to light up my test light. My test light is connected to the other end of the probe. Okay, guys, the valve body, of course, is where I was at the transmission. The TCM is located under the driver's seat, and you can see it through here. You pull off this cover for the fuse box, and let me see if I can zoom you in back there. That is the TCM. If you can see the connectors, let's see if I can get the wires. That is one side. Those wires you see right there go to the TCM, the valve body. And the other side, bad shot, but the other plug is on this side. It's, I think, 2 or 3 cables going into it. All right, guys, I was able to follow the cable. You can just trace the wire, and I found it in the harness, the black and dark green, and I am getting battery voltage with the key on. I also hit ground here on my other side, and my test light lit up brightly. So that circuit is good for so we're going to test the ground side, which is a brown wire. Now I'm hooked up to the brown wire, and I'm going to check here. It's showing the ground. We're going to give it power and see if this lights up bright. And it does, so we've got good ground and power going to the TCM. I went ahead and tapped into the blue and black, which goes down to the valve body, and we're getting 6 volts here. So now I got to see if this is a correct reading, right? I'm also going to just inject ground to my test light, and it will light up the test light with those 6 volts. Okay, I went ahead and hooked up to the ground, the pink wire, the sensor ground wire. I want to see if it can light up a test light, which it did not under the car, but now we got the engine running, and it does. It does actually light up the test light up here. Under the car, it was not. I'm going to go back under now and test that, which that was a big point of concern for me, that it was not lighting up my test light. So let's go under and do that again. That might be our issue.
Okay, I'm here, and it is working. So maybe it was just a fluke. I didn't have some hooked up right, but the ground is good. And on the all black wire, we're still at 3.9 volts, 4 volts. So gotta check if that's in spec. I'm gonna go ahead and try to see if it will light up. It should, because my test light, that should light up my test light. Yeah, but we gotta see if that's in specs, and then that would mean that there was most likely gonna be an internal issue with this transmission valve body.
All right, guys, on speaking to the customer, I'm getting conflicting reports of what he did. He originally told me he changed just the connector to the transmission, but come to find out, he replaced, I believe it's called a conductor plate on the transmission. So basically the whole bottom pan of where the valve body sits, that pan is removed, and the connector that you saw me unplug, basically the receiving end of that, he said he damaged some pins, so he replaced that whole conductor plate where the connector fits in, right? So it's a good chance when he removed that valve body to change that conductive plate that something could be damaged there. So I'm going to go ahead and have him remove that so I can inspect that and test the connection, and see if he has a solid connection inside the connector going to its various parts like the valve body or whatnot. Also to add, boys, voltage, power voltage coming from the TCM should be 5 volts on one of the cables that we're getting 6 volts on. Now, is that a problem? It's possible there could be an issue. 6 volts could be in spec. The other one is, I got to pull up the details on the other cable, by the way.